Good morning, Nova Nation. Happy Friday. Here's what is in store for today's show. We have a lot coming up with Super Bowl 58 on Sunday and also Valentine's Day. We are going to talk all about it. Speaking of the Super Bowl this Sunday, we are curious, who are you rooting for at home with our Twitter poll, which is already up, by the way. And Andrew Bogdan from Villanova Refugee Empowerment will also be joining us this morning to share more about the service-oriented organization. In sports, we'll give you hard-hitting Super Bowl analysis and preview the sports weekend ahead here at Villanova. The Morning Roar is also being broadcasted live on WXVU's YouTube channel. Good morning, everybody. I'm David Shapansky.
I'm Chris Kokinos.
I'm Mike Obershaven.
And I'm Nick Williams.
And going right into the news, the bodies of 3 people were recovered from a Pennsylvania home yesterday, the day after it went up in flames during a gunfight that left 2 police officers wounded. That was a roller coaster of a sentence. 6 members of the same family were missing and feared dead in the house that was engulfed in flames. As of Thursday morning, the house, quote, has been burned down whole, unquote, and the search for the missing has turned into a recovery operation, according to Delaware County District Attorney Jack Stolzheimer. The DA's office said that the bodies of the shooter and 2 others were recovered as of Thursday afternoon. 1 is likely a child. 3 adults and 3 children belonging to the Lay family resided at home and remain unaccounted for. A Pennsylvania lottery ticket worth more than $200,000 was sold at a Delaware County business recently. According to Pennsylvania lottery officials, a Progressive top prize winning ticket worth $209,395 for the Monopoly free parking Progressive game from the Pennsylvania lottery was sold at a lottery retailer in Delaware County on Tuesday. Sri Ganesha Incorporated, 500 East Providence Road in Alden, receives a $500 bonus for selling the winning ticket.
Thank you, Mike. And now let's go into our first discussion topic of the day. There's a lot going on in the coming days with Super Bowl 58, but we cannot forget about Valentine's Day. So here's the question to the group, and I'm assuming David has some responses. Are we excited? Do we have plans? And are you wearing pink on Wednesday? David, I want to go to you last. So we're going to go with Nick first.
No. Listen, man, it's been a rough year in terms of like me trying to find, some sort of companionship. I've kind of given up at this point.
It's understandable. I feel like that's like the 2, routes we go with on Valentine's Day. It's either like a tough holiday or, it's a decent holiday. Mike, how about you?
I do have plans. I've been kind of scrambling to make the plans, but we're getting there.
Yeah.
I intend on seeing the play that's going on. What is the play called?
I have no idea. Oh, the one is it
the student theater play.
Is it Amadeus?
No, it's like Crazy About You. I think it's like a rom-com play that they're hosting.
Oh, I have no idea.
I just know that Wild Card Wednesday is Valentine's Day.
That's kind of huge.
And that's a free activity.
That's huge.
So it means I could spend more on dinner.
Yeah. There you go. Well, my only plans are going to the refectory. So pretty pumped. Easy spot on campus.
6-course meal.
No, not on Valentine's Day. We got to do it a little before. But on Valentine's Day, the refectory is doing a 6-course wine tasting meal for anybody interested. Still looking for someone to go with. All right, David, let's hear it.
Well, I'm first trying to find out this theater play that Mike is talking about. I'm interested. I can't find it anywhere, but I know
Mike's
that
making
the
it up.
Singing Valentine's, a Villanova tradition, that is in my email
that's
box.
huge.
But yeah, no plans. But I want to get into this will be a quick rant. I promise. I'll make it a quick rant. The idea behind Valentine's Day is amazing. It's great idea. I love the idea, the thought process. It's great. My issue with it is I think it's kind of like a fake holiday. Like I think that the whole idea, like it should be a year-round thing. I just think that it's turned into a lot of like, okay, companies like raise their flower prices from like, $15 to $50. Everything just goes up in terms of price. Like I genuinely feel like it's a lot of fake behind it. You know what I mean?
Wait, I get what you're saying, but
and I know a lot of, and look, the idea behind Valentine's Day is great. Like I love it, no pun intended. But I think when it comes to, it just seems a little fake to me. I don't know.
Like I see what you're saying, but I don't know about the whole celebrating it year round. You know, like
I
you
don't
gotta have
mean-
like
well, I don't
one.
mean like every day. Okay, go out and buy
No,
$60
no.
flowers. That's not what I mean by that. But I feel like the idea behind it is like very okay. Like we're gonna make special plans, go here, which is great. That's a great thing. But I feel like it's more of like okay, gonna do it on this day, and then I feel like it kind of gets I don't know. After some time, kind of gets.
I think it makes it
not the same.
special. You know.
Yeah. Okay, I could see that.
But also, it's kind of like the same thing with Christmas. Like, it's kind of not in the spirit of the season when you have to go and
Well-
spend an insane amount of money.
Yeah, I
Like, that
guess
kind of,
it's kinda-
sours it.
Yeah,
you know?
I would agree with that.
Definitely. But it still could be kind of fun. But
I would
also, like, it's price gouging at this point.
Exactly.
Like, I'm running low on the cash.
Definitely definitely a greeting card holiday.
Oh, absolutely.
Or what is it called? Hallmark holiday.
Hallmark holiday.
I mean, I remember as a kid, I would get so excited because, like, in grade school or elementary school, you would have like people would bring in, like the little cards.
Oh,
That
yeah.
would be like, and the whole class would get it. Like, it was no like,
Oh, no.
Valentine's Day
Sometimes there was drama with
Oh
that.
yeah,
where,
there
like,
was. Yeah. Sometimes
some
in
people
high
were
school,
getting some.
we had a high school event. It was called, and I was part of the student government, so we like ran it, and
Yeah.
we had to like quote unquote vet the Valentine. So I was reading things that I did not want to read. I'll just
That's awesome.
leave it there. And move on. But seriously, like I remember in grade school, like I was happy though because you would get the candy. You know what I mean? You would get
Oh,
the
yeah.
chocolate, and I'm a huge fan of white chocolate. Okay, and I
Of
know that
course.
it's like
Yeah.
considered not chocolate. But I remember for Valentine's Day, like the one girl in my class would always bring in like white chocolate for everybody in like a shape of a heart. And I loved it because I love white chocolate. And I feel like white chocolate has become more of a thing nowadays. But like if you go back 10 years ago, I feel like it wasn't very popular. Like people were like, okay, that's not chocolate. I mean, still some people think that today, and I guess it may be true. But it's become more of a bigger thing now in terms of white chocolate.
I'm going to go on a limb and say that you started disliking Valentine's Day right around when the entire class stopped giving out chocolate. Like you pulled up to
Ah,
college and you're like,
I
we're not
don't
doing the
know.
Valentine's Day thing anymore.
Yeah, I was totally
we're
expecting
not
it, yeah.
handing out the cards in our classes,
I was expecting
guys.
that. Yeah.
I think it's kind of unfair to make you give Valentine's to like fair, but like, why do you got to give Valentine's to everybody?
Because then like one kid in the class gets two.
Oh man.
Well,
God,
that's when you
everybody's
do it like
popular.
secretly. Like I remember people would
Hey,
do it
what-
secretly.
Oh no,
Like, if
we
you
wouldn't do
had-
it secretly. There was
Oh.
like a set period during the day, and you had your little bag, and you just walked around and dropped them in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some kids would get like one or two, and other kids would get like
Yeah.
25, and then it was a whole thing. It turned into a whole problem.
but it was fun though, wasn't it?
Oh, I had a great time. I
Yeah.
was not one of the kids getting one or two, so I was having a blast.
Were you one of the kids getting 25?
Oh, dude, we had like 30 kids in our class, you know? So,
Did you give them?
oh, we gave them
Yeah.
out too.
And I remember you have to write on them. Like you would for each one, you would write, your name.
That was the tough part.
And that was the tough part.
That
yeah,
was the
when you're
tough
like in
part.
fourth grade, you don't want to do that.
No.
I just didn't. I would just
You
drop
just-
it in the bag. I'd be
Oh.
like,
Oh,
here's,
no, you got to put your
here's,
name
here's
on
a,
it.
here's a lollipop, dude.
You got to make sure people know that you're giving them like this good candy. Like this is your goodwill throughout like the rest of February. It's all about class politics, Mike.
Of
I don't
course,
think
of course.
I don't think you got
It's a-
that in
it's a
third grade.
political move. No, I just have like a sort of populist sway among the fourth,
Oh no, you're
among
so
my
right.
fourth grade pals.
I miss that though. Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, college should bring that back. Let's have like a universal, like give out 1,000 candy grams. Move on with your life. Yeah, sounds great.
That's what I like to hear. Mike, why don't you take us into our Twitter poll question today?
All right. So the Super Bowl is coming up, and we want to hear from you via our Twitter poll and also the Instagram poll. Who are you rooting for this Super Bowl? The Chiefs, the 49ers. I'm only watching for the commercials, and I just hope both teams have fun. So let us know.
I still don't know. I did read something interesting yesterday that I was going to use on my show, but we didn't have enough time. Most people who watch the Super Bowl actually only spend 30 minutes watching the actual like telecast itself.
What do you mean?
Like when you go to a Super Bowl party, which is like what most people do, they only spend 30 minutes actually looking at the TV.
How do you find that out?
They did a poll. I don't really
Oh,
know.
okay.
It was probably the least scientific poll ever. If Talene was here, she'd probably be roasting it to shreds, but
Now it's I'm taking up the mantle.
yeah, that's what it said. And like in fourth place among like the reasons why people watch the Super Bowl was the actual game itself. I don't know how much I believe that, but I could kind of see it.
I could see it too.
Yeah. But I think I'm going to root for the 49ers. I think that's my plan here.
Traitor.
What is it? I don't know if that's a traitor. I don't think so.
Packers, Chris.
I get that, but I
And you're gonna
really
root
hate
for
the Chiefs.
49ers.
I absolutely despise the
team
Chiefs.
who. Okay. All right.
You know, I would rather lose to the team that wins it all. So,
Okay,
like,
that's
you
a
know,
fair
deep
argument.
down, it's like, all right, you know, these guys were the best.
Like
this
you,
year.
like you could have beaten the Chiefs. That's
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Like
the
we almost beat the 49ers. So if the 49ers beat the Chiefs, I'd be like, well, we basically won the Super Bowl, but
It's not exactly how that works. Not exactly.
I think that's how that works in my
like
mind.
you could say it for
Yeah,
sure.
no, absolutely. And I don't think anyone's going to fact check me on that besides maybe David. But Nick, what about you?
As a diehard Patriots fan, I don't know who to root for really.
Yeah,
So
I feel like if you root for the Chiefs, you're rooting for somebody to take down your team's like legacy because the
Yeah.
Chiefs are coming for you guys.
Yep.
It's not looking good.
Yep.
Yeah. So it might have to be the 49ers.
I think it has to be the 49ers. It just feels like I don't know who the 49ers are at all. So,
They're just the Avengers of football right now.
I have a
So
feeling, yeah.
I like that they posted something. The 49ers posted something on Twitter that was like, it's something underdog mentality. Like it was like, oh, backs against the wall. They've been favored in every
that's
game
so
they
dumb.
played this
That's
year.
the
I mean, they've
dumbest
been the
post
Super Bowl
ever.
favorites for ever since the Eagles collapsed week 10. Or the Ravens, I guess. Maybe they were the favorites technically. But I mean, the 49ers have been at the top of the leaderboard the whole season. So their
Since
whole
day
like
one.
underdog mentality is
that's a dumb
not
post.
correct at all. Yeah. And they were getting roasted on Twitter for that.
But David, who are you rooting for?
Oh, of course, the Chiefs. Got to go for the Chiefs. Yeah, I mean, I do agree with the fact, like, I don't love rooting for Patrick Mahomes, and he
It's
did
the worst.
knock the Eagles out, obviously, last year, which disappointed me. But he is a great quarterback. Could be the greatest of all time when it's all said and done. So, I mean, root for greatness, I guess, in a way. And
I
see what
guess so.
happens.
Yeah.
And go from there. But, you know, also, too, like, a lot of Eagles fans, I don't know, I feel like it's been 50-50 recently on the whole Andy Reid thing. You know, do we like Andy Reid? Do we not? I don't really have a problem with him, but also too, I was so young when he was here. Like I was, you know, his last year, I was like 2.
Yeah.
So I don't remember that era. So I can't like have lived through those emotions.
Yep.
But I like Andy Reid. So the Taylor Swift is interesting. Like I think it's a lot of coverage around her, but for the Super Bowl, it might be cool to watch. So we'll see what happens. But
Yeah. Mike,
I
how
guess
about
root
you?
for Chiefs.
As a purported diehard Patriots fan, and also a masochist, I'm rooting for the Chiefs, so our legacy gets destroyed.
Of course.
But also, kind of just hope both teams have fun.
There, I figured you were going to vote for that when I saw it on Instagram last night. I feel like that one got a lot of votes yesterday, actually. I thought so.
I haven't
Well, we're
checked
going to have to
since.
recap that at the end of the show, so we don't want to
hold on,
spoil
real quick.
anything.
Mike,
Of
are
course.
you actually you're actually
No.
a Patriots fan?
No. So this is a joke from the beginning of the show where for some reason whoever was writing the show script at that time put Mike down as a Patriots fan,
Oh, okay.
which was just completely not true at all. And
Absolutely
we've been
correct.
running with it this whole time.
Okay.
What you're a Steelers fan, right?
I guess. Like I don't really follow football, but if I did,
If you had to, it would
Steelers,
be the
yeah.
Steelers. Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, let's move on into what is going on with WXVU. Our featured show of the week is Pocket Music, hosted by sophomore Mikey Turner. Pocket Music features indie and alternative music from all decades. Your trusty host, Michael, will introduce the songs with information about the artists and add some additional commentary. And that's Pocket Music. Hear it every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m., only here on WXVU. You're listening to The Morning Roar. We're going to be taking a quick break, so stay tuned for more after this.
Hi, I'm Kat Coyle. I'm the Assistant Director for Student Media Programs and the advisor of WXVU. And you're listening to V89.1, The Roar.
Hello, Nova Nation. This is John Doherty, radio station alumnus from the class of 1972. We were WKVU back then. The name has changed, but the station is still great. Thanks to the internet stream, I enjoy WXVU here in Avalon, New Jersey, even on the beach. But you are on campus, so you can listen to Villanova's V 89.1 The Roar.
Forget about your Fridays looking bleak. What about your Wednesdays? Villanova University's award-winning student-run weekly newspaper, The Villanovan, hits residence halls, dining halls, and academic buildings every Wednesday morning for your reading pleasure. Read up on all things Villanova and beyond, from news to sports to arts and entertainment. Have some feedback? Email your response letters to editor@villanovan.com.
And we're back with the Morning Roar right here on WXVU 89.1 FM. Let's go to David with our weather forecast for the main line.
I'm not going to mess it up today. Today is starting off with morning sun and a few passing clouds. The high is 56 degrees. Yes, I said that right. Enjoy the day outside. Tonight will range from partly to mostly cloudy with light winds, low near 39 degrees. Saturday will be cloudy skies with a slight chance of a rain shower. Saturday night conditions are expected to be mostly cloudy, still with a chance of rain. High of 56 degrees and a low of 43. Sunday will most likely be overcast, still with a slight chance of a rain shower on your Super Bowl Sunday. Sunday night will offer partly cloudy skies. Expect a high of 49 degrees and a low of 36. The temperature here at the Villanova campus and here at the WXVU studios is 39 degrees and sunny. Back to you, Chris.
Thank you, David. Now let's go to our Morning Roar news update with Mike.
All right. A Philadelphia woman has admitted to purchasing several firearms using straw purchase schemes, including at a gun store in Montgomery County, and transferring them to other people who were prohibited by law from possessing guns. Another roller coaster of a sentence. Addie Lena Bay, 25, of the 4900 block of Wyalusing Avenue, pleaded guilty in Montgomery County Court to charges of corrupt organizations, making materially false statements, and conspiracy in connection with incidents that occurred between 2020 and 2023. Judge Stephen T. O'Neill deferred sentencing so that the court officials can complete a background investigation report about Bay, who will undergo drug, alcohol, and mental health evaluations. A ramen bar in Houston is struggling to stay afloat, so the owner decided to start an OnlyFans account to help with finances. In an Instagram post, Christopher Huang wrote that he started an OnlyFans account for Ninja Ramen and invited customers to, quote, send me pictures of you eating our hot nudes, NOODS, and I'll post them with your consent, of course, end quote. Yes, the account is real, and yes, Huang is serious, but OnlyFans is just part of a larger plan. He wants to do even more events and collaborations, cool and weird things, he says, aimed at saving his business. As he put it, I don't know how to ask for help in an elegant manner.
Mike, that was quite the news story.
Yeah.
What made you think to bring that to us today?
It was on the screen. That was in front of me, but I think this is the best of the bunch, you know? Like straight from RICO charges and gun charges to ramen OnlyFans.
Only here on the Morning Roar.
Only here
Quite
on
the
Morning
roller
Roar.
coaster. I would
Yeah,
say.
absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's go to our second discussion topic today. Would a Saturday Super Bowl work better for you? Tradition dictates that the game is played on a Sunday, but if it were played on a Saturday, you could recuperate before work. And after all the food and beverages that you consume, that would probably be a good idea. A 2022 survey of over 2,000 NFL fans found 48% would like to see the big game move to Saturday. That would definitely help out the 14% of Americans who call out sick the next day. Or can't we just make Monday a holiday? So what do you think, guys? Let's start with Nick here.
All right. So I have an interesting story about this. So, for the diehard Patriots fan sitting across the table with me here,
Of course.
remember the Patriots versus Atlanta Falcons game?
No, absolutely.
And that game went late into overtime because I forget the receiver's name. He caught the interception in the end zone, saving the game. But I didn't get to see that because my dad thought the game was over and shut the TV off and went to bed. I had to go to bed as well because I was like 16 at the time and I had to go to school the next day, right?
Yeah.
And I got to miss the greatest play in NFL history.
Yeah.
Now, if it was a Saturday night and I didn't have to wake up early the next morning because it was a Sunday, I would have been able to see that play and I would have been able to celebrate the Patriots winning the Super Bowl that year. Unfortunately, I didn't. So I'm part of that 48% that would be able to say, I would like to have this event move to Saturday so I could be able to stay up late into the wee hours of the morning or late at night, whatever it is, so I can experience the whole game without having to jeopardize me getting up early the next morning to go to school or go to a job potentially.
See, I hear what you're saying, but like, how late do you should we really stay up on the Super Bowl? Like, when is the game supposed to end, David? I feel like you would.
Isn't it like 11:30?
Yeah, it's like 11:30. I mean, a big reason why I think like there's an issue, of course, with like getting people to stop going to work is because the game is usually like late. Like, I know that 6 p.m. is not like late, but when you incorporate like the halftime show and everything that goes on in the commercials and, you know, the pregame stuff with the national anthem and with, you know, like the coin flip takes like 6 minutes just to do the coin flip.
Yeah.
So when you add all that together, it goes pretty far into the night.
Okay. And plus, I think the bigger problem is everybody's hungover the next day. Like, I don't think it's really the lateness that's the problem. It's all of the drinking that happens during the Super Bowl that people don't want to go into the game. But personally, it should probably still be on Sunday. You know, that's just how it's been. That's how it's going to go. You know, Mike, how about you?
I wouldn't really care one way or the other. Like, I'm still going to wait. Like, if it's on a Sunday, I'm still going to wake up on Monday and do what I got to do.
Exactly.
But also, like, if it was on a Saturday, it would be nice to have like an extra day to recuperate.
It's true. It's true. David?
I like it on Sunday. The main like NFL games are traditionally on Sunday.
Yep.
You have to stick with that, I think. And also, too, I personally like it as a commuter student because my commute on Monday will be fantastic. Like,
that's
a good amount
true.
of people will be calling out of work, not be there. So, and I do think like in another like 25, maybe even less than that, like 15 years, I think Monday actually does become a holiday. Like the day after Super Bowl Sunday, with how big it's gotten, like commercial wise for corporations, industries. I think a lot of like holidays, or not a lot of holidays, but I think the day after the Super Bowl is going to be a holiday.
Definitely. I've heard a few people talking about that CE class that they take. Mike, you took that class. Wasn't it kind of?
Yes, I did take that class.
Was it like a harder class for business students?
It's basically the business weed out class.
Got it.
But like, how hard is a weed out class for the
Well,
business school?
one of the professors is having a CE test the Monday after the Super Bowl.
That's a little tough, but also read the slides.
Is that it?
That's it.
Oh,
Like,
really? I've been
you know
hearing
what- you
about
know
the
what,
CE test for like weeks now.
Do you remember when we talked about the Eisenhower decision matrix?
Oh, is it that
That's from
class?
CE.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, that's
so
a
like
joke.
know your Eisenhower matrix, CE students.
All right, let's move on to our morning roar mind bender. Just to give everybody the updated standings here, Mike has 6 points, Nick has 3 points, Becky 2 points. She's probably going to stay at 2 points for the rest of the semester.
What's
And-
up, Becky?
and Talene has 3 points. David still has yet to get on the board.
When I get on the board, I'm done with the morning roar. So that's my retirement ceremony.
He doesn't even need the pie. He just wants to get on the board.
Go out on top.
All right, here is the mind bender. What can run but never walk? Has a mouth but never talks? Has a head but never weeps? Has a bed but never sleeps?
Say it again.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. What can run but never walks? Has a mouth but never talks? Has a head but never weeps?
Oh, it's a river.
Yep, there it is. That was pretty quick, Mike. Yeah, Mike is going up with 7 points in the standings.
This is
Nick,
possible.
David, do we have any thoughts?
This Mike dynasty has to end.
I just want to get on the board, man. I just want to get a point.
Did you guys even have any inklings as
No,
to like what it could
I was
be?
thinking like living things. Like I was like mouse. Like I was going down like different things like that. And I really need trivia in order for me to get on the board. So trivia next week. Nick, Mandy, please. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Nick, how about you? Do we have like any idea where we're going with this?
So you're saying bed, right? And I was thinking, oh, like a truck bed, right? So I was thinking about that. And they have the
Oh.
mouth. I was like, oh, maybe it's something to do with like agricultural equipment, you know, because you have the mouth of the feeder, you know, the
Yeah.
processes grain or whatever, and then goes into the truck bed in the back. So I was doing all sorts of 40 chess over here.
You would have got there, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't think
Because I
river-
was also thinking about a truck bed or like the bed of a car.
Yeah.
But this was a lot better than last week because you guys didn't know the mind bender right off the bat because it had happened before. We just watched David struggle with it.
I got 4. I still think that over my head. Just buy another boat. Or buy 3 boats. Like put the chicken.
David, you misunderstand.
Put the chicken on one boat. Put the fox on the second, and put the chicken seat on
You
the
spent
third.
all your money
Problem
on the chicken, the fox, and the feed.
It
You were
didn't say that
broke.
in that question.
I'm saying it right now. you
Well,
were
it did
broke.
not, Chris. It did not say that in that question.
And
Look,
if
you
one of them ate
read
the other thing, you were going into
law.
financial ruin. All right, like you had to get them across to save your
I'll
family.
make a paper boat. I'll put a couple grams of seed in a paper boat.
Foxes can swim.
I'll
Can
put
they?
metal on the bottom of the boat.
Can you swim across with the fox though? Like that's the thing. The fox is going to swim away. He's going to run away.
He is
Why
not.
why
Chris.
doesn't he run away when I'm going on the boat with the chicken then?
I don't know.
I'm telling you, you
I don't make
one
up
of
the
those
rules.
nice like paper boats. You put metal on the bottom of it so it doesn't get wet, it doesn't ruin.
Yeah.
And you put the chicken seed on there and just send it off. And then you can spend the rest of your money on actual like the regular 2 boats.
But you
to
don't
get
have
the
any more
animals
money.
across. Well, it didn't say that in the question. I'm still saying on that. So it has to say it in the question, Chris. In the question or
No,
in
you're so right.
the
Dave.
riddle.
All right, you're listening to the Morning Roar right here on WXVU. We're going to be taking a quick break, so stay tuned for more after this.
I'm Ellie Hart, the host of Matchbox Melodies, and you're listening to V89.1 The Roar.
Villanova Reach Out is a new campus organization dedicated to relieving social isolation in older adults through telephone conversations. Villanova Reach Out is looking for students, staff, and faculty volunteers who want to make a difference and a new friend.
For information, to volunteer, or to receive calls, contact Reach Out at villanova.edu. REACHOUT at villanova.edu.
You're listening to the Morning Roar right here on WXVU 89.1
This is
FM.
Kaylee Brendel, and you can hear my music only here on Villanova's V89.1.
That was a mistake. I apologize for that sound bad. But you're listening to the Morning Roar right here on WXVU 89.1 FM. And now it is time for our third segment today. So as of today, over 110 million displaced persons and approximately 36 million refugees are without stable homes globally. On campus, Villanova Refugee Empowerment works to amplify refugee voices and support them. To talk more about the organization and their upcoming events, Andrew Bogdan is joining us today. Andrew, thanks for spending some time with us.
Yeah, it's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
So, Andrew, we would love to get to know you. And so could you tell us more about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm a senior here at Villanova. I'm a political science and humanities major. I'm involved with a few groups on campus. VRE is Villanova Refugee Empowerment is the biggest one. I'm in the orchestra as well. Hoping to go to law school. So, yeah.
Awesome. And just for the people who don't know, what is Villanova Refugee Empowerment?
So Villanova Refugee Empowerment is an organization a friend and I, Gina, created on campus to assist local refugee families. And we also do fundraising events for families in Philadelphia as well. So it's an organization really focused on helping refugees that have already come to the United States.
That's great. What do the service opportunities look like?
So we focus on 2 fronts of service. One, we do like financial drives and like item drives. So we've done backpacks for back to school for kids, and we've also done like drives for there was an earthquake in Turkey last year that we did a drive for. And we also do, if you have FBI clearances, we do in-person sort of service events. So there's a family nearby that we visit fairly frequently. We've helped them grocery shop before, so we really focus on 2 fronts of service.
Cool. So what led you to be part of VRE?
So I think it was sophomore year, so this would be 2022. Yeah. My friend Gina was creating this club, Villanova Refugee Empowerment, and needed help with it. And I have past experience with Boy Scouts with service work, so we kind of just started working together, and from there it grew. So I'm here now.
And if you're just joining us right now, we are talking to Andrew Bogdan of Villanova Refugee Empowerment. Now, Andrew, what is your most memorable experience with the Villanova Refugee Empowerment?
Yeah, so last fall, just to give some background context, we partner with a couple organizations in Philly. One of them is called the Nationality Service Center. They deal with all sorts of different groups of refugees coming to Philly, since Philly is a sanctuary city. And we do a lot of work with them. We have done a bunch of different drives, partnered with them in different events. So they invited us to their potluck in the fall, and we got to go and eat with all of the families that we had done drives for. And it was really great to see the people who were like being affected by our work. So that was really meaningful.
I can imagine. And just generally, how does it feel to be a part of something like Villanova Refugee Empowerment?
Well, it feels good to help out other people. It's definitely hard work, planning all these events and making sure you're cleared and making sure we have enough supplies for drives. But at the end of the day, it really is kind of self-fulfilling when you get to see, especially with the event like the potluck, get to see that your work is having a real positive influence.
What are some of the programs that Villanova Refugee Empowerment hosts, and possibly some coming up in the next couple weeks or rest of the semester?
Yeah, so we've got a couple events in these next couple weeks. We've got a drive coming up and a couple other events. So for Valentine's Day, we're going to be doing Roses for Refugees. So we're going to be selling roses at the Oreo on the 13th and 14th, and all of the proceeds will be going to both at that organization NSC and this local animal farm. So that's good. Like, and there's also a movie night coming up February 19th in Bartley at 6:30 p.m. We're going to be hosting a little pizza night, and it's ACS approved. The movie is only 30 minutes long, so if you need ACS credit, come check it out.
Cool. So how important is it for the Villanova community to be part of VRE?
I think it's really important to expose yourself to some sort of service, whether it be with refugees or any sort of group. I think it's specifically important to help out refugees because Philadelphia is a sanctuary city, so there is a large refugee population, and there's not really many organizations on campus specifically devoted to helping out refugees. So I feel that we're kind of addressing a need that hasn't really been addressed yet.
Now, Andrew, this is all very important work. So how can the Villanova community follow your programs and meetings? You know, are there any social media accounts that we should be aware of?
Yeah, we have an Instagram, Villanova Refugee Empowerment. You can follow us there, or you can email me at abogdan@villanova.edu, and I'll add you to the email list.
That's great. And for those who are listening who want to be a part of VRE, how can students, I guess, reach out? You just said your email, but is there any other way students can become a part of the organization?
Yeah, so we put up flyers on campus frequently with like QR codes about events and stuff. You can look up for those. You can come check us out at the Oreo on the 13th and 14th, and we'll be happy to talk to you guys and get you all signed up. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, Andrew, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
That was Andrew Bogdan of the Villanova Refugee Empowerment Group. And you are listening to The Morning Roar right here on WXVU 89.1. We're going to be taking a quick break, so stay tuned for more after this.
Hey, I'm Avery Stout. I'm the Philadelphia Music Coordinator for WXVU, and you're listening to 89.1 The Roar.
Hey, you look hungry. Stop and take a snack break.
But I don't know what to eat. My mom used to make all my snacks at home because I'm gluten-free.
So are you saying that you're struggling with finding delicious and healthy options that are also gluten-free?
Yes, being in the dining hall is so overwhelming. The only thing I feel like I can get is a salad.
According to Beyond Celiac, 44% of college students who need gluten-free diets said eating gluten-free food on campus had been a problem their entire college career. But did you know that colleges may offer help with gluten-free diets? Villanova University's Office of Health Promotion offers one-on-one coaching sessions with a registered dietitian.
Does that mean that they can help with gluten-free diets?
Yes, students who are gluten-free or need other types of diets can eat well in the dining halls.
So where can I learn more?
Just log in to the Thrive 365 portal from MyNova and book a session that works for you.
This message is brought to you by senior nursing students in the M. Louise Fitzpatrick College of Nursing and WXVNU Health, the first nurse-led health department in FCC licensed collegiate radio.
WXVU is your home for Villanova sports. Listen for play-by-play of every Villanova Wildcats home football game, led by our sports director, David Shapansky. And we'll have broadcast coverage of Villanova men's basketball and Villanova women's basketball. Count on V89.1 The Roar for all of your Villanova sports coverage.
And welcome back to the Morning Roar right here on Villanova's B89.1 The Roar. Let's go to Nick with our birthdays coming up this weekend.
Today, happy birthday to Carole King turning 82, Tom Hiddleston turning 43, and Michael B. Jordan, the GOAT, turning 37. On Saturday, we're going to have Elizabeth Banks turning 50, Emma Roberts turning 33, and Chloe Grace Moritz turning 27. And on Sunday, we have Jennifer Aniston turning 55 and Taylor Lautner turning 32. And I would like to give a special shout out to, I don't know if any other cultures in Asia do this, but I know in Vietnam, we all celebrate our birthdays on Lunar New Year as a Vietnamese tradition. So technically, I want to give an early happy birthday to all my Vietnamese guys out there, especially to my mom, Chúc mừng năm mới.
Is Lunar New? When is that coming up?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Thank you, Nick. Now let's go to David with our sports talk.
All right, let me get to the script here. Here we go. All right, Villanova sports update coming for you here. Men's basketball, tough loss on Wednesday to Xavier, 56-53. Heartbreaking. 18 seconds left to try to get a shot off in the game. They don't even get an attempt off. They had a whole timeout to draw up a play, and Coach Neptune and the guys cannot get a shot off. The plan was to go to Brendan Hawson, and everybody in the world knew that was the plan. Didn't work. Villanova will try to rebound on Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday at 12 p.m. against Seton Hall. Should be a good matchup as the Pirates. A little slower recently, but they started off really hot. As for the women's team, they have a big game coming up tomorrow against Marquette at 3 p.m. Marquette is not ranked anymore, but they were when Villanova defeated them right here at the Finn. The Wildcats are coming off of a blowout win against Seton Hall on February 3rd. You could have heard that game right here on WXVU. And coming up, of course, on Sunday, as I talked about earlier with men's basketball, Villanova and Seton Hall will have live coverage for you right here on WXVU beginning at 11:30 a.m. as Steve and I will have the call from the Wells Fargo Center, and tip-off is scheduled for 12 p.m. Cats need to get back on track, and hopefully they do so on Super Bowl Sunday.
So, David, there's been a lot of talk about the security of Coach Neptune's job. Do we think there's any truth to that after this string of losses that has been happening here?
Well, I could talk about this. I did the other day on Villanova Sports Talk for like 30 minutes. But
give us the abbreviated
version.
version.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, I definitely think that there's desperation in the locker room, and I said that the other day because in the beginning of the year, it was a lot of, okay, this is our starting lineup. This is the way we're going to go. And the fact that, even after the injuries, it's kind of been a switch with Mark Armstrong and Akeem Hart in the starting lineup position tells me that Coach Neptune feels some desperation. I think in terms of the timeouts he's called recently is different than his approach in the beginning of the year, which I actually think has gotten better. But I think that definitely there has been either a voice that's come to him possibly, from someone else on the team or whatever that may be. And, it's kind of, I don't want to say forced, but he's kind of changed his philosophy a little bit when it comes to that. And I think that his job is definitely on the hot seat. Do I think it's going to happen this season where they fire him in the middle of the season? I don't think so, unless you have an absolute collapse at the end of the season and you lose both games to Georgetown, which cannot happen. Maybe something happens after a loss there. But I do definitely think at the end of the season, there's going to be some kind of thought about, okay, how do we move forward with the program? Because when you look at the coaches in the Big East, there are so many good coaches.
Absolutely.
And I personally think that Kyle Neptune has been outcoached by probably every single one except for DePaul, and we haven't played Georgetown yet. And DePaul fired their head coach a couple weeks ago. So, I know that there's a lot of talent in the Big East. It's not an easy thing. A lot of transfers has come into the system for Villanova, but I think that with the plays, the inconsistency, and it just seems like at times that there's a lack of effort, and that's what concerns me.
Yep.
I don't think it's all the time, but like in the game against St. John's, there was a lack of effort to me. And anytime you have that, that's not Villanova basketball. So, obviously not in the locker room, but that's kind of my thoughts on where everything is right now.
Well, thank you, David, for that insight into that. Because in my mind, it's pretty much just like, oh, if the season keeps going like this, it's probably
there's
not
a
gonna
lot
go
of
well.
talk like on social media that
Yeah.
is done with Coach Neptune moving forward. I don't think it's just his fault. I think he's a
No.
part of it.
Yeah.
But also the talent on the roster. Justin Moore has significantly underperformed since coming
Yeah.
back from the injury to a point where he's really not taking shots anymore. Like late game situations, he's not really playable per se. Like they're not using him in any situation, which is so crazy to think about how good Justin Moore was just 2 years ago. But it goes to
Absolutely.
show how the injuries have really come down on this team.
Well, David, why don't you take us into our other sports topics here?
Also, too, just wanted to say spring sports started,
yeah.
I believe, yesterday. So softball has their first game today. They're projected to be pretty good. Baseball team, I believe, was picked last in the preseason prediction. But hey, anything can happen. It's the Big East. So we'll
Doesn't
see
our baseball
how
team
it goes.
start off the season with a 10-game road trip?
Yeah, so usually it happens with a tournament. So the softball team, I think, is in Florida. I'm not sure where the baseball team is going to start. They still have about a week before they begin. But usually it's, of course, somewhere warm because you can't guarantee the February weather. I mean, it's beautiful today, but you can't guarantee that it's going to be 60 degrees when you're playing. So, and there could be a snowstorm next week. So you have to see what happens.
Awesome.
A lot of changing parts here on the main line. But all right, the NFL playoff recap, and we've come down to two teams. We talked a lot about the Super Bowl in today's show. You have the Chiefs, you have the 49ers. For me as an Eagles fan, it's a lose-a-lose. But it should be a good game. You have Brock Purdy, Mr. Pretty much the last pick in the draft. Mr. Irrelevant has become relevant in the NFL. And then, of course, for the Chiefs, trying to take down what seems to be building a dynasty with Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Andy Reid. And then, of course, we'll move on. Well, do you guys have any thoughts about that?
I was going to ask the team here. There's been a lot of talk this season that Brock Purdy is not that good of a quarterback. He's just a system quarterback. He's surrounded by such talent that, of course, he's succeeding. Do we think that if he wins the Super Bowl, that talk goes away? They finally solidify him like, okay, he's a good quarterback. He deserves to be called like an actual good quarterback. Mike,
There are always going to be haters.
There's always going to be haters.
There's always going to be haters.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of the haters.
I know. I'm well aware. Do you think you're going to stop talking about it after? Yeah, exactly.
No, I hate Brock Purdy. Yeah, that's pretty much how that's going to go. Nick?
I feel like consistency speaks more than just a Super Bowl win.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I haven't been watching that close, to be quite honest with you. So, that's just kind of me putting my word out there. I don't know.
Gotcha. David?
No. Yeah, I think it's talked about forever. I mean, he's the last pick of the draft. The team around him is insane. If you put like Josh Allen around that team, they probably win 3 Super Bowls in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
And I mean, the team around him, you have Christian McCaffrey, just the amount of weapons, Deebo Samuel, that this team has that are such a high level. And I look, Brock Purdy definitely did not deserve to be the last pick in the draft. Like, he's definitely better than that, obviously. But like you said, Chris, the system around him has really helped him. Now, as Nick said, consistency, if he continues to play at this level, because there's going to get to a point where the 49ers are going to have to decide, okay, we're going to have to pay Brock Purdy, in another couple of years down the line. You can't keep your targets forever, as the Eagles have seen now with building around Jalen Hurts, other teams have done around your quarterback. So you're going to have weapons that are younger, that are inexperienced, and that, frankly, are not as good yet. So how does he perform then, I think, is going to be the real test. But the 49ers are definitely going to be at the top of the NFC for the next couple of years. Hopefully, the Eagles can challenge them, but they're definitely going to be there just because how cheap Brock Purdy's contract is. I mean, he's getting paid
that is huge.
Rookie contract.
Yeah.
So.
And the 49ers throughout the playoffs this year for these first 2 games, they have just not looked good.
No,
at
it's
all.
a bye week. I think it's the bye week.
Yeah.
And also, to their schedule just, and I don't want to say, because that was kind of the argument against the Eagles last year, was, with the schedule was weak. But at the end part of their schedule was kind of weak. I mean, they played the Ravens. That was a really good game. They lost that. But they had some other games where, they played the Rams, which, don't get me wrong, good team. But, they were able to sit some starters. And really, Brock Purdy didn't play in a game for a long time. So I think just kind of getting that used to, and also playing better teams in the playoffs, obviously, than they are. So.
But I think once they actually go up against that Chiefs defense, it's going to be tough for them.
Yeah, Spagnuolo has those guys playing really
Yeah,
well, which is the surprise, because everybody knew, like, heading in the season, like, okay, Chiefs, they're going to have good offense, and probably mediocre, maybe below average defense. It's been the opposite, really. Like their
Complete
offense, like
opposite.
their receivers do not catch footballs. It's crazy. Like Patrick Mahomes is the team pretty much. And the defense, they've been like elite, like top 5, top 10 in a lot of categories in the NFL. And they're really not playing with super notable names like Chris Jones, of course, great, player, obviously gets a lot of pressure on the quarterback. But you look at really the other players besides that, nobody like superstar notable.
Yeah.
And that's really goes to show, like, I'm surprised that Spagnuolo does not have like a head coaching job, like in the NFL. And maybe it comes at some point in time, but he's been doing this with that defense for a long time. Maybe he doesn't want it. Maybe he wants to stay in KC and build that dynasty as we've been talking about. But his defense expertise is amazing. I'm jealous. I want him as the Eagles defensive coordinator. Not going to happen. Vic Fangio, though, looking forward to it.
There you go. Now let's go on to the Joel Embiid injury update here.
Yeah, so he had surgery on his torn. They didn't call it torn, but it was like some injury to the meniscus. But I think everybody pretty much thinks that it was torn. And he's had that injury before. He's going to be out. I believe they're hopeful that he comes back like in April, but by then that's like the very end of the season, right? You're getting into the playoffs soon. So that's a big issue for the Sixers team. And what they did at the deadline, which we can talk about the Bucks too and talk about other teams. There's really like no big trades that happened in the NBA yesterday. Like there was a bunch of okay trades. Like I'm excited about Buddy Hield, Patrick Beverly goes to the Bucks, which you're probably excited about. Yeah. But the big trades like the OG Anunoby and the Pascal Siakam trades, those were made before the deadline yesterday. So those were, big trades there that were happening weeks ago. So yesterday was a lot of teams kind of exchanging pieces. I don't think the Sixers got better. I don't really think a whole lot of teams got better, to be honest. The Knicks were probably the exception to that. They did get better. Which I know a lot of Villanova people are excited about, of course, with Brunson leading the team. They did get rid of Arcidiacono, though, off the bench, so that's sad for them. But, yeah, I mean, you just not anything super notable. How do you feel about the Bucks? And if you guys, Celtics. Knicks, and you're a fake Celtics fan.
Purported.
Yeah,
I mean, in terms of like the Bucks right now, it's just not looking good. We've just been losing. We've had like just a string of losses ever since we've got Doc Rivers, and I'm just not loving how this team is.
That's not a coincidence.
I know it's not a coincidence. It's just been bad losses these last few games. And now I think Pat Bev, he's going to be pretty good. I think he's going to help out our roster quite a bit there. But I don't know if it's going to be enough to overcome the deficit that is us just losing these games that we should absolutely be winning if we're supposed to be, in contention for a championship this year. It's just not looking good.
I mean, there's only one team in the East that's the Celtics.
It's
the Celtics way above everybody else below. I mean, the Cavs, they're on a winning streak right now. They're doing really well. I think second in the East. But when you look at just the talent the Celtics have, I mean, the Bucks have failed expectations. I know the Sixers have played bad, but I think a lot of it has been without Joel Embiid that they've collapsed. But the Bucks are probably the disappointment in the East.
It is,
to be honest.
It's true.
I mean, the Pacers maybe from where they were offensively, their defense is very bad, but offense they might be one of the best offenses in the NBA. But you just look at the trade deadline, and especially for me, and I think you can agree with me, Chris, and even the Celtics got Jaden Springer, which I think is a good move for them. Good defense. Can't really score, which is a big issue, but his defense is locked down. Locked down Luka the other night.
Yeah, definitely. Well,
disappointed.
It's just, yeah, it's like all I've got to say.
The buyout is really interesting because there's a lot of players who are have been bought out. They were traded for. Like Kyle Lowry is available. Spencer Dinwiddie is available, which I know he hasn't been the best to begin the season, but there's some good lockout players available that Steph Curry, not Steph, but Seth, who has good 3-point. Like he's in the Curry family. I mean, they have to shoot well from behind the arc, and he did when he was on the Sixers. So.
Yep. Now, something I saw that was kind of funny yesterday with a completely random team, the Bulls. They have not made a trade for a player since 2021, and they're a very mediocre
and
team.
They're bad. I mean, they need to come to the point, and I think the Sixers are going to get here too, where you have to kind of just get rid of pieces. I mean, I know that Levine didn't really want to be traded. His contract is really bad, but you could have moved Andre Drummond. I wanted him on the Sixers. A lot of other teams had interest in Drummond. It's the last year of his deal. They're not going to re-sign him. I mean, where they are in the East, it's not like they have contention NBA final aspirations, really. Why do you not trade him? I mean, it just seems like they're like, okay, we're in Chicago, big market, got to try to get fans to come to the games. We'll keep the team and see what happens. I don't know. That's a mistake from them. They're the disappointment.
They are the disappointment. Yeah. Absolutely. All right, let's go to Mike with our music news.
All right. So, Usher says he has anxiety about his Super Bowl halftime show, but he's not nervous. And interestingly, he claims he'll be given 2 minutes more of stage time than the usual 13. Quote from Usher: "It's a huge strategic thing that happened between me and my agency. I'm personally excited to see 2 more minutes than I would have of Usher." Luke Combs, 2 days after he joined Tracy Chapman to perform Fast Car at the Grammys, played a private acoustic show for 450 people at Nashville's Ryman Auditorium. He introduced the song this way: "Singing with Tracy was incredible. I did my best. Now you've heard Tracy do it, which is way better, but now you get to hear me do it. After hating on the Luke Combs cover, I feel a little vindicated after reading this."
I'm hurt, Mike. I'm hurt inside. It's hurt. It hurt. You don't like the cover?
I just like, anytime I hear the cover, I just think I'd rather listen to Tracy Chapman.
Okay. All right, that's fair. Do you not like country music, or?
I don't like pop country.
Okay. I don't know. I wouldn't say Luke Combs is mainstream country. Gets a lot of plays, but I wouldn't say
Mike hates.
I think
mainstream
Morgan Wallen
country.
is more pop country than.
Yeah,
Mike
White
absolutely
Cross.
despises mainstream country.
Florida Georgia Line.
You're
Morgan
hurting my soul right now. So we'll have to move on.
Justin Timberlake has nabbed his highest Billboard Hot 100 debut in 6 years as his new single "Selfish" makes its debut at number 19. It is also at number 17 on the Pop Airplay chart and number 33 on the All Format Radio Songs chart.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Mike. Let's go to Nick with our movies coming up.
All right, so we have Lisa Frankenstein, a PG-13 rom-com / horror, a coming-of-age story about a misunderstood teen and her high school crush, who happens to be a handsome corpse. After a set of playfully horrific circumstances bring him back to life, they embark on a murderous journey to find love, happiness, and a few missing body parts, starring Catherine Newton, Cole Sprouse, and Jenna Davis. Tomato meter rating of 52%. And we have Turning Red, a PG animation / comedy. Mei Lee is a confident, dorky 13-year-old torn between staying her mother's dutiful daughter and the chaos of adolescence. And to make things worse, whenever she gets too excited, she poofs into a giant red panda. Starring Rosalie Chiang, Sandra Oh, Orion Lee, and has a tomato meter rating of 95% and audience score of 68. I thought Turning Red came out a while ago.
That's also what I thought, but
Yeah.
Mike was mouthing something to me.
And I forget every time that Chris can't read lips. It's in theaters. When I was reading this, I checked on the IMDb page or IMDb, and I'm like, movies coming out, because I thought this was like a little like an old thing that we forgot to change, but it's in theaters this weekend. I don't know why.
I think actually, you know what? It's Lunar New Year.
Oh yeah,
that makes sense.
Also, on the IMDb page, I found out that Peppa Pig is getting 10 new episodes to celebrate a 20-year anniversary.
That show's been out for 20 years.
Don't say that to me right now, man.
That's awesome. I did not know that show's no way.
It was older than me.
Yeah.
I feel like that show was not around at all when we were kids.
I agree.
Well, it was a British show.
Oh, okay. Got it. No, that adds up. That adds up.
Also, Orlando Bloom is in this Peppa Pig 10-episode special. It's got a 3-part wedding special.
With who?
Don't know.
We got to watch now.
Yeah.
Everyone's homework for the Morning Roar is check it out, and we're going to come back next week and discuss.
It'll be our discussion topic.
What did you think of the Peppa Pig 10-episode special?
Yeah. To our listeners, that's also your homework, so you can keep up on the discussion topic for next week.
The first episode in the U.S. was August 22nd of 2005.
So I was lied to.
Well,
what?
It's 19 years.
Well,
I
wait.
guess.
You said it was in Britain first, right?
Yeah.
So it didn't say 20-year U.S. anniversary, right?
Oh, okay. No, it did not.
So
it debuted
it's
in
probably
the US in 2005.
yes.
We were
So it
3
is
years
younger
old.
than me.
Dude, I do not remember the show at all when we were kids.
I don't. Well, actually, here it's okay. So the British version came out in 2004. So therefore, it would be 20 years. But the first U.S. show was 2005. And
No.
apparently it doesn't really have a good Google user rating. 65% only
No.
like the TV show.
Shocking. It's probably all the parents that have to listen to it constantly. But in terms of the movies that are on this list, neither of them look good.
Turning Red was an interesting watch. When I watched it with a few of my younger cousins, it's definitely one of those coming of age movies.
Yeah.
And I feel like I had to respect it because of what it is
Uh-huh.
on that front. Because I don't want to say too much for people that haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, I don't think it's the kind of demo for anyone really at this table. It's kind of
No.
the same way Barbie wasn't for anyone at this table.
What are you talking?
Speak for yourself.
Barbie?
I
I
love
love
Barbie.
Barbie. Was a great movie.
Actually, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't have. Yeah.
Barbie top 10. Love that. But but the audience score on both of these are just really low. You know, like I don't think Lisa Frankenstein didn't even know that was coming out. Cole Sprouse, what are you doing?
What is Tomato Meter? I don't watch movies. I made that
So-
clear, but I know you guys might not know
Tomato meter is the combination of the critics and the audience, and
Okay.
then audience score is the only one that
that.
matters.
So who are the critics? Like
the worst people you've ever met? Those are the critics.
The guys,
Like, I'm
the guys who
curious.
call movies films.
They got their
So,
film degree from
do we
NYU and they don't have a job.
Okay, do we have the audience score for the first one or no? I guess. not.
I
don't see it
there's
on
no because I don't think it came out yet, so I don't think there's an audience score
But
yet.
if Tomato Meter is 52, I mean that would have to say that the
The
audience
critics
score must be
hate it.
really low.
Or the audience.
Well, I guess there's a
kind of like
difference,
an
so it doesn't
inverse
necessarily
rating.
mean that.
Yes, a lot of the time when the critics hate a movie, everybody likes it because people like things that critics hate. So the fact that the
I
critics
mean, the
like
storyline sounds like interesting, like horror, rom-com. I don't know.
it
Like, I
sounds
feel like-
unique. It sounds funny. You know?
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I
Yeah.
think people will just go see that off. Now, is it good? I don't know.
Like
But
they're going to
people
see it
will go,
ironically.
That will draw people to the theaters. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
But maybe more bet around Halloween. But then
Yeah.
I see the
But
crush
the rom
part,
com
maybe,
being like a Valentine's Day thing,
yeah.
you know. Yeah. Well, let's go to our fun events on campus this weekend. Today is a Cat Valentine's Day event at 7 p.m. at Cafe Nova. Build a bestie, but Valentine's Day themed. Decorate Wildy Cat for Valentine's Day with personalized Nova clothes and add a Valentine's heart. VFL Movie Night is also at 7:30 p.m. at the Con Cinema. Villanovans for Life will be showing the movie Sound of Freedom. On Saturday, the African Caribbean Villanovans Fashion Show will be hosting auditions at 12 p.m. at the Gary Room 10A. Asian Students Association Expo will also be happening at 6 p.m. in Cafe Nova. On Sunday, the cultural film and lecture series Eve's Bayou will be taking place in the Con Cinema, with the cultural film and lecture series offering free screenings to all Villanova community members on Sundays at 3:30 and 7 p.m. Mike, let's hear the Twitter poll and Instagram poll. Got to say that now.
Gotta say the
Results
Instagram
recap.
poll. All right. So starting with Twitter, we've got 63% rooting for the Chiefs, 25% rooting for the 49ers, and 12% just hope they have fun. And no one on Twitter is just watching for the ads. On Instagram, we have 32% rooting for the Chiefs, 21% rooting for the 49ers, and a tie between the Chiefs and people just watching it for the ads. So 32% are just watching for the ads on Instagram, and 14% just both. Just hope both teams have fun.
Well, there you go. Our deep thought of the week: the most valuable player is the one who makes the most players valuable, by Peyton Manning. Thanks to our executive producer, Mandy Love Ledbetter, and stay tuned for Swingin' Fridays coming up after this. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Villanova University's WXVU Villanova, serving the main line, including Montgomery, Delaware, and